No, I told Brenda. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. Brenda's daughter's my niece. Good morning. The October 11, 2017 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiencies of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. For today's meeting, there are no changes to the agenda or corrections. I do not have any deferrals or withdrawals to note. I'd like to announce the following abstentions that have been reported thus far. The Honorable Mayor Pugh will abstain on page 41, pages 73 to 74, items 1, 2, and 3, and pages 77 to 79, item numbers 9, 10, and 11. The Honorable President Young will abstain on pages 44 to 45, 46 to 47, and pages 74 to 75, item 4. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt will abstain on pages 2 to 3, and pages 76 to 77, item number 8. Mr. Chow will abstain on page 75, item number 5. The items that remain on the non-routine agenda are pages 58 to 66 and pages 67 to 71. Mr. President, members of the board, those are the abstentions that have been reported thus far, as well as the items on the non-routine agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated October the 10th, 2017, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. I will entertain a motion to approve all of the items contained on the routine agenda.
Mr. President, I move approval by the board.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. The routine agenda has been adopted. The first two items on the non-routine agenda can be found on pages 58 to 67, Department of Human Resources, Performance Audit Report FY14 and FY15, update on the agency's automation infrastructure, and pages 68 to 71, Department of Audit's response to the report of the Department of Human Resources. Will the parties please come forward? Okay.
Good morning, President Young, Madam Mayor, and Madam Comptroller and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you with information about DHR's automation infrastructure. By way of background,
You have to give us your name. You have to say your
Mary
name.
Talley. By way of background, the city's Department of Auditing performed an audit of the Department of Human Resources operations in early March and released that report of its findings and recommendations. As a result of that report and subsequent to that, the board has asked us to provide an update, and that's what I'm here to do this morning. So currently, DHR's existing technology infrastructure is insufficient. Our Human Resources Information System is an ADP enterprise system, which in fact is antiquated. The reason being that we have an outdated version of software that has not been updated in many years. In addition to that, we are no longer able to receive technical support from ADP because they don't have any subject matter experts or anybody that is skilled in that version of our software. In addition to that, we have over 200 customizations, city-specific customizations, that even if ADP could provide us with technical support, they don't understand the customizations, and it has made our system more complex and cumbersome. In addition to that, This has provided the Human Resources Department with an inability to render real-time information for itself as well as agencies across the city. Moreover, our current system does not interface with any other systems in the city. As a result, we're forced to have protracted processes, manual processes that take an inordinate amount of time to complete based on the volume of information and projects that we're required to complete. This not only impacts the Department of Human Resources, but it also impacts agencies across the city. So where we are now, currently, we are working with the Mayor's Office of Information Technology, purchasing, finance, to try to identify an enterprise-wide system, something that not only DHR can use, but that will interface with other systems and be on the same platform with all of the city agencies and all of the city's operations. So currently, we're considering a commercially available enterprise resource planning solution, and that is in the development stages. So what's been our progress since the audit? So we've implemented several stopgaps to compensate for our lack of technology. And those include, we've conducted a thorough needs analysis within our own agency of our technological needs. And back in April, we initiated discussions during which we shared that information with the Mayor's Office of Information Technology. In the meantime, we have implemented several precautionary measures to help us move forward as quickly as possible. And that includes providing additional training and retraining for our own internal staff as well as agency personnel so that they know the proper use and application of our existing infrastructure. In addition to that, we have increased our reliance on WUFU, which is a web-based application that has enabled us to accept electronic submissions as opposed to manual submissions. Additionally, it's going to help us toward our goal of eventually and hopefully being a paperless operation. We're also currently revising our policies and procedures to help us identify efficiencies. So we had some areas of concern in our recruitment and talent acquisition division. So right now, if we had a more robust applicant tracking system, one that was actually integrated with other infrastructure, technology infrastructures in the city, we would be much more streamlined and efficient. But in the meantime, we have concentrated on our staffing needs. One of the things that we're doing is we have recruited, designed and are actively recruiting for 2 senior recruiters. This will build our bench strength within the Department of Human Resources, so we'll have our own internal recruitment operation, if you will, that's going to focus on reducing the time to fill and underscore professional, managerial, and executive level positions. Further, as it relates to recruitment and talent acquisition, we are doing other things to try to reduce the time to fill and identify additional methods to streamline the full life cycle recruitment process. Those items include implementing supplemental questions. Now, supplemental questions have been in effect for quite some time. However, they're not widely used. We are placing increased emphasis on training the agencies to use supplemental questions because this will give them an opportunity to more specifically and readily identify candidates that have the specific skills that are unique to their agency's operations. I also want to mention that when we implement the revised civil service rules, agencies will be able to develop specific announcements that are catered toward their agency's needs, and they'll be able to identify people with the desired skill sets more quickly. Paper applications, we're trying to do away with those once and forever. Our goal is to implement a fully electronic application process by December 31st of this year. In addition to that, we are going to be conducting a series of trainings for new and existing HR staff to familiarize them with the recruitment and talent acquisition process and procedures. Surrounding our classification and compensation division, the audit identified that we have numerous areas of concern and deficiencies. Class and Comp conducted a SWOT analysis and identified the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats surrounding that division. And we came up with several resolutions as a stopgap. Our enhancements include the development of a test database, which we implemented as of May of this year. That enables us to input data and find out the results before we actually implement it and it goes live. In addition to that, we're going to begin accepting electronic rather than manual submissions from the agencies. Furthermore, we are working on identifying other streamlining efficiencies for classification and compensation. All of the processes in Class and Comp are manual, and that leads to human error. So we are going to be, over the next month, identifying how we can better reduce the rate of errors and process the enormous amount of submissions that we receive on an ongoing basis. Our submission rate has increased by 50% within the last year. Staffing, that division is grossly understaffed. Currently, we have 7 classification and compensation specialists. We are requesting that be increased to 12 in order to handle the volume more quickly and more efficiently. Thank you. I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you have.
The only question I have is, if I'm correct, you said you're looking at reducing the amount of time it takes for a hire to be hired.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So with the software that you have now, would that be possible that you can do
It's
that?
not possible right now. We have an applicant tracking system called NeoGov that does not meet our current or our future business needs. It does not permit us to use certain applications that we need in order to be more efficient.
So, Mr. President, Comptroller, and members of the board, we know this is a problem across the city, period, whether it's the police department or human resources. Human resources feeds all of our agencies, so it's a real problem for us. And that's why one of the reasons we hired our new technology person, IT person, because we brought somebody in from the private sector because we realized that we've got to change our platforms, and our platforms don't communicate across agencies, and that is a high priority for this administration. So I know that he's here. Frank is working with this agency as well. Improving technology in this city is ultimately, I mean, it is of the utmost importance. And when we think about, for example, just the police department, how long it took them to hire individuals, in fact, up until this year, we weren't able to hire police officers faster than we were losing them. We were losing more police officers and not able, through our own technology base, able to hire the police officers that were applying. So it wasn't that people weren't applying to be police officers. The fact of the matter is that our system is so antiquated. But you'll find this in almost every agency in the city. And so we expect to transform these agencies over the next year or less, because we realize that this has been a real problem for the city in general. But I wanted to also take a moment to say to Mary, to congratulate her for Work Baltimore.
Thank you.
Because you did an outstanding job. I don't know how you got it done with the technology platform that you're currently using, but she had over 2,000 people register before we opened the doors at the convention center. And I know probably between 3,000 to 5,000 folks walked through those doors. And what was interesting was, you know, it was of all levels. One of my, Kendra Pollock, who runs our data center upstairs, said that she found her data scientist who walked through those doors of the convention center, City Stat Smart. And so we know that there were folks at every level coming through that door, and I could barely step through and had to leave. But, you know, nothing to do with you at all.
Yeah.
But I didn't want people to be distracted. People kept stopping and wanting to take pictures and photographs, and I was like, go apply for those jobs. And I heard employers say, you know, when we hire you today, you know, here's where you are today and here's where you can be. So again, thank you for all the work that went into doing that particular effort. I challenged all the department heads to think outside of the box, and Mary did an extremely fantastic job with your agency and yourself leading that effort and collaborating with the other agencies. Thank you.
I also want to take a moment to thank my extraordinary staff in the Department of Human Resources. Without their support and help, Work Baltimore would not have come to fruition, and they were extremely exceptional in going above and beyond anything that I could have asked for to make that project, that initiative successful. So thank you, team.
And I also have to add, didn't cost the city a dime. They were able to do it with their ability to reach out, and her branding of the event, Work Baltimore, all the bus posters, everything you saw was through the efforts of this particular agency. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bob McCarty, City Auditor. I'd like to point out that Ms. Talley and DHR is making significant progress on our findings and recommendations. We will follow up on them when we do our next audit in calendar year 18 that will cover fiscal years 16 and 17.
We'll be ready, hopefully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The report has been noted. There have been no more business before this board. We will recess until bid opening at 12 noon. Thank you.
I got it.
But Val should be on the way over here, but
Okay.
let's see if we can get it done before.
That's good. Okay. Good afternoon. The Board of Essex is now in session for the receiving and opening of bids. There are no addendum for today. GS 16826. I saved the time of your here. I'm sorry. GS 16826, Western District Police Department. Partial roof replacement and HVAC upgrade. A bid bond is required. The amount is over $100,000. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Chilmar Corporation with a bid bond. $671,396. I make a motion to refer the bid of Denver Elick, Inc. to the Law Department for review.
Second.
It's so ordered, it'll be referred to the Law Department.
That's it, thank you. His rubber band might be better.
Thank you.
Refer the other bid to JS.
Yes, move we adjourn.
You're gonna refer the other bid to purchase, I mean, to.
Oh, refer the Chilmar bid.
It's fine. What are you saying, Glenn?
To purchasing,
No, the general service, I'm sorry, general services.
general service, general service.
Yes, okay. Thank you. All right. There being no further business, we adjourn. Thank you.
Adjournment.